Now, rapper Tay K has been in jail since the age of 18. And the reality of it is that the younger an inmate is, the more likely they are to be victims of SAs in prison. And why is this, you may ask? The reason is that prison predators will see them or view them as fresh meat. Because an 18-year-old most likely hasn't had a whole lot of experience with a woman. So it'll be a lot easier for an older, seasoned inmate to convince him or manipulate him into trying new things. And unfortunately, he'll most likely fall victim to the quote, "It doesn't count in prison." Welcome back to the Guardian File. Make sure you hit that like and sub button. Let's talk about it. What does it mean, or what do I mean when I say the quote, "It doesn't count in prison"? You see, that's easy to explain. See, what happens is, a lot of times when men are locked up and they realize that they're going to go years without experience the love of a woman. Knowing this, after a while, they'll come in, talking about how they'll never do this, they'll never do that, they'll never break. If somebody does this while they're in prison, that means that they were already like that outside of prison, which I actually agree with. But for the most part, they always seem to bend a little bit and then eventually break. And the way of coping with that is to trick themselves into believing that the only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm in prison. And because of my circumstances, that makes it okay. Now, I don't agree with that at all. I don't. And I try to have sympathy or empathy for individuals that may be going through that. And I try to understand the mindset behind it. But to be able to be aroused by another man or someone of the same sex, there's no getting around that. It is what it is. You're attracted to what you're attracted to. And I don't knock you for that, but you have to own it and be proud of it. So to sum up my opinion on that, I don't agree with that logic whatsoever. I believe that is BS. But how does this affect Tay K? Well, it's simple. Just like I expressed in the beginning of this video, that whenever an inmate comes into prison and he's extremely young, when we kids, young men, we love to, we'll call it, lie on our private areas. Basically saying that we've had more experience than that we've actually had. Kind of boost our egos a little bit. Now, even though someone like Tay K, was, I guess you could call him an up-and-coming rapper, he's probably had a lot more experience with the opposite sex than most of us have had as teenagers around his age. So I'll give him that. But in that short period of time, he has not experienced the opposite sex enough, whereas he will be able to, I guess, be content at this point all the way through his 80-plus year sentence. Because in the beginning, what'll happen is, the inmates, they'll find ways to relieve themselves with magazines. A lot of them have access, they're not supposed to. They're able to find access to cell phones. They'll have women in their lives send them flicks, to help them, relieve their stress. Or rub one or two off. But after a while, that's not going to be enough for him. Especially that's someone that young, basically hitting their peak when it comes to testosterone levels and basically still going through puberty. Yeah, we all remember how, as men, how we felt back when we were 18 in our early 20s. It didn't take much to get us aroused. And guess what? That's not going to stop in prison. If anything, that period for him is going to last longer than any man that's out here in the free world. Because for some reason, somehow, prison seems to preserve these men. Whereas you'll have someone who's 50 years old and he'll look like he's still in his mid to late 20s, early 30s, and functions the same way. So that means that libido that he has right now as a young man, pause, is going to be that way for a while. May even increase. So he's going to struggle. Now, when it comes to the older, seasoned inmates, first off, well, let me let Cat Williams explain it.
My integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right.
And that V hole is precious, like gold, to a seasoned inmate that has went years without the experience of a woman. Check it out.
But we have sexual desires, right? So you got a bunch of men locked up in one place. All of them. So what are they gonna do? You won't let them have a woman. They gonna have somebody's gonna have to give up. And it's just that simple. In this prison was more important than food. A man's. It was more important. I'm serious. It was more having some. Was more important than drinking water, man.
Now that's some serious thirst. And see, these men will make sure they're able to quench that thirst with that V hole. It's like I said earlier, it's like fresh meat, blood in the water for a shark. They love it seeing a young man come into prison, especially when they find out that he has a long sentence to walk down. Now, you may be wondering, how is this going to happen? What normally leads up to this? Well, I'm about to give you the PG version. See, the PG version, what's going to happen is Tay K is going to get his sentence, which is already happening. So most likely he already had his first day in prison. So this first day after getting sentenced, first day he steps on the yard, inmates from his same race or gang that he may be affiliated with, those inmates are going to welcome him in. Supply him with whatever he may need, whether it's commissary, stamps, that's the currency, stamps, hygiene products, etc. They're going to break down the rules and regulations and stuff, not the necessarily of the official rules of the prison, but inmate rules. How to carry yourself. Don't do this, don't do that. Stay out of other people's business. The goal is to make him really comfortable. You see, they want to make him comfortable. Not only comfortable, they want to make him feel like their presence is needed. Like it'll be difficult for you to survive this environment without my presence. Eventually making him feel like he feels obligated to return the favor, show his loyalty. And then that's when it happens. Now, it's either going to happen in a way where it's just quote unquote consensual, even though in prison there's no such thing as consensual sex. There's no such thing. Every time it's caught, it's some type of essay. And there'll be some punishment that comes behind it. But technically, within the two people, it'll be consensual. And with somebody that young, he'll be easy to convince that there's nothing wrong with this. This is normal. And you're not going to see a woman for a long time, so you need to go ahead and get down with this. because a person's brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25. So if he was locked up at 16 or 18, most likely his mindset is still the same. He's still green to a lot of things. Now, another way it may happen is, and this is a little bit more forceful, supply him with certain things like drugs. Him being so young, he's going to want to use some type of drug to make him at least feel like he can escape. He can escape mentally whatever it is that he's going through, because he's young. He don't know how to process certain things. So he's going to try to find the easy way out. Most likely he doesn't have any money. So along with supplying him with the drugs that he feel that he needs to be able to survive and make it to the next day, since he doesn't have any money, he'll be supplied with that and supplied with other things. And they'll probably just let him know, hey man, you can pay me back whenever you can. Not realizing that that's far from the truth. They'll let you run up your debt and then press you about paying them back. Add interest onto it. Then when it's time for you to pay them back, and if you don't have that money or those stamps, they'll most likely give you 3 options. Option 1, you need to check in. Checking in meaning that you're basically putting yourself in protective custody. You have to go to the lockdown unit, aka SHU, Special Housing Unit, until you find a way, however it is you find that way, to come up with the funds to pay your debt. Second option, you're going to have to wear a serious behind whooping, because if you don't take that first option, you're going to deal with that behind whooping every single day. And you're lucky if it's just a behind whooping. A knife may be involved, aka shank. Without getting too graphic, you can imagine what'll come behind that or come along with that. Okay, now let's focus on those first two options. Now, they're going to already have convinced you that checking in is a weak move. They're going to strike fear in you about going to SHU, Special Housing Lockdown, because they know that you don't know any better. So they can convince you that that will be the worst option that you could possibly take. Now, the second option was getting your behind whooped. Now, you're already timid most likely, because now you go from dealing with kids your own age, now you have grown men threaten to put hands on you and do physical harm. Some even threaten to take your life. So you're already too afraid to go those 2 options. Now, here's the third option that they're going to give you. We're going to figure out a way for you to pay back. And that way is going to be you giving it up. Orally or even the other way. And not only giving it up to one person, the whole clique. And once you do that, they already got you. It's over. So to sum it all up, Tay K is most likely going to be dealing with a lot. He's dealing with some stuff that you couldn't even imagine happening in your worst nightmare. He's going to have to deal with it because of the decision he made. Now, hopefully young kids can see what he's going through, or maybe they'll come across this video and find out what he's going to actually experience while in prison. And maybe this will prevent them from doing the same stupid thing that he did. A lot of times I have to remind myself that don't feel sorry for this kid. He took 2 people's life. So this is obviously what he wanted. So that's what it is. That's what he's going to go through. Make sure you hit that like and sub button. Till next time, I'm out.